So Tycoon has a lot of vehicle game passes, and this makes it super difficult for you to actually pick which one you want. However, more importantly, a question which you're going to be asking is, are they even worth the money to spend? Well, in this video guys, we're going to try to figure that out because I'll be going through every individual Game Pass vehicle to see how good it is. So first off, we're going to be starting with the F-35 bundle, which provides the F-35A and the B variant. And straight away, I believe this current version of the F-35 bundle is a complete downgrade from what we recently had. And the simple reason why is because the previous F-35 kind of functioned as both the dogfighter and the multi-role. However, now these things are kind of split. So let's take a look at the value of the F-35A first. So this thing is basically half of the Game Pass and it's worth the 1000 Robux. This is a 11-part dogfighter plane, which in the game is currently the best dogfighter just because of the simple fact that it kind of has everything you need. It's got the 6 air-to-air missiles more than the F-22, it's got the best lock-on range in the game, it's got the best turning speed in the game. However, its part requirement is 11 parts, and that is a massive issue for a dogfighter plane in this game because you're not going to be getting too much value out of your parts. You're specifically spawning this plane in to get one job done. However, if we take a look at the F-35B, it's got the air-to-air missiles, it's got the anti-ground missiles, it's got veto, basically everything that you need. However, another issue which this vehicle has is that it costs you exactly 12 parts. The gun placement of the F-35B is kind of weird, if I'm going to be honest with you. It makes dogfighting with this thing kind of difficult if you don't really know what you're doing, and the air-to-air missiles do below average damage overall. Is this thing the best multi-role jet in the game? Probably yes, but is it worth the money? With all honesty, it is really going to be debatable, and I'm going to be having a 50-50 on this because I genuinely believe that there's a lot of reasons to why you should be getting free-to-play jets or get average jets, but there's also some reasons to why you want to stick with the F-35 bundle. So my overall answer for this is buy it if you want, but it's not too worth it. It's a little expensive, and with all honesty, personally, I probably wouldn't recommend it just because there's a lot of other planes out there which do just as good of a job. And now taking a look at the MI28 Game Pass, which is currently going for $7.99. So this here is a completely different story compared to the F-35s. This thing is actually not worth the money at all. The MI28 Havoc has really fallen off over the years, if I'm gonna be honest with you. It kinda has the versatile weaponry, it's got everything in its loader it actually needs, except the issue is that it basically has everything to the point that none of the weapons really do that high of a damage. The only standing out feature about the MI28 itself is its gun. That just has a better fire rate than most helicopters that have the same gun in the game. So, with all honesty, the MI28 can only be good if you're a skilled player, but if you're buying this thing simply as a measure to win the fight, I don't think it's gonna be worth it at all for you. I'm gonna be completely honest. There's just so many better helicopters out there. An example of this could be the normal Hind, you got the Super Hind, you got the normal Comanche even, the Ka-50 Black Shark, even the Ka-52 Alligator, the Longbow. There's just so many better helicopters that you could genuinely use. Now next I'm moving into the ground vehicles, which actually have free game passes, starting off with the Speedy Humvee. So this thing right here is a 49 Robux Game Pass, which is supposed to do one job: get you across the map. Except I've already talked about this multiple times. The Speedy Humvee is a fast vehicle, yes, however this map is just simply not built for such speeds, and in most cases if you're not very controlled with the way that you drive, you're gonna end up getting stuck under rocks or literally just get flown under the map or whatever. Like, this game currently has a really buggy map, and I believe the Speedy Humvee just doesn't really fit for it. So if I had a choice to buy this, I would definitely be passing out on the Speedy Humvee. However, a vehicle which I definitely wouldn't be passing out on is going to be the Stryker SHORAD. Now this thing is a completely different story. I believe the Stryker SHORAD to be the most cost-efficient Game Pass that you can get in this game, just due to the simple reason that it only costs you $3.99, and the value that it provides for that price is insane. destroy. It's able to fight tanks, it's able to fight helicopters, planes, everything. It has a very well-versed loadout for every type of combat that you need, and just in general, it is still a pretty meta vehicle, which is either an A or S tier ground vehicle as of this current moment. So I would definitely recommend you guys to be buying this. And another vehicle which you also have for the ground vehicles that you could be buying is going to be the JLTV. I think the JLTV is very similar to the Stryker SHORAD. It is super cost efficient and only costs you 199 Robux. And with all honesty, it's a very versatile vehicle that specializes in ground combat of being able to destroy tanks and ground vehicles. And it does this extremely effectively. And there's a lot of good reasons for this. One of them is going to be the javelin, which lets you lock onto the person before the fight even starts, so you can get some damage before the fight even begins and you even know where the person is. The chain gun is also really good. It's able to really do some insane DPS against really any vehicle type. And most importantly, the hitbox of this thing. Oh my god, it makes this vehicle so hard to hit. I believe the JLTV to also be really worth it. Next up, moving into the Abrams X, and I genuinely feel like this thing has kinda fell off over the months. And the simple reason for that is because there's just so many tanks that can now compete with the Abrams X, but along with this, they also do a lot of jobs better than it. The point of the Abrams X is to be a ranged tank, and it's supposed to be using its drone launchers and the javelin before the fight even starts, right? But the issue with this is that the drones end up getting stuck in the terrain a lot of the cases, or they just end up hitting rocks or whatever, right? And this really sucks because it means that the cheap damage that you would get before the fight even starts wouldn't even be able to count. Plus the APS is also another thing that needs to be counted. The javelin is nice because it lets you know where the person is, but if we're talking about close range combat, the Abrams X is genuinely kinda just an average tank, and this thing also costs you 12 parts. I can literally list tanks which are better than it, like the BMPT Terminator, even the BMD, we got the Leopard 2 ARC. I believe these three tanks to already be better than the Abrams X because they're just a lot easier to use compared to the ABX, which is supposed to be a Game Pass tank. A Game Pass vehicle is supposed to be having a loadout that makes the vehicle easy to use. That's kind of the whole point of pay to win. So if I had to make a choice if you should be buying the Abrams X right now for the 1,499 Robux, I would definitely be passing out on that. Next I'm moving into the submarines, and I'm gonna be making this one quick because the Typhoon class, in my opinion, is the worst Game Pass in the game. The simple reason for this is because, once again, this is just a bore with 2 extra TV guided missiles, 2 extra ballistic missiles, and some extra health. There is nothing different about these two vehicles. Did not get the Typhoon. The only reason why you would want to buy this is for having some of the best interior in the game, but genuinely, if we're talking about pay to win and actually trying to come out on top in most fights, what's the point of having a good interior? It doesn't do anything. Now next up, moving into the USS Zumwalt. Now this one I actually kind of like, and I believe it's still able to hold up in this current meta. The USS Zumwalt is good at very many things. The main way in which I use the Zumwalt right now is I spawn it in if there's so many people at my base and I need to quickly get rid of all of them. The Zumwalt is a perfect base defender, and it's also the best boat in the game when it comes to DPS exchanges. The reason why the Independence X is simply better right now is because it's a slightly more skilled vehicle which you can use with a railgun, which is able to kind of choose you from range, and it just has a more versatile loadout. However, the Zumwalt itself right now is by far the second best ship in the game, and I definitely would recommend you guys to be getting it because it's also super noob friendly. If you don't really know what you're doing, the Zumwalt will be able to carry you with ease. And now lastly, moving into the hovercrafts, this has to be the easiest choice of my life, the HACV Overlord. Oh man, there's no better hovercraft. It's not even close between the AVH Reaper and the Overlord. If you have a choice to buy the Overlord and if you got the money for it, I really recommend it because this vehicle has basically everything that you need. It's got its smart flak gun, which is really easy to use against air vehicles, so you don't have to struggle against them. You got APS, you got high health, you got high speed, you have the ability to lock on through walls, you got artillery. You literally have everything with the Overlord. This thing, in my opinion, is the definition of pay to win in this game. If you want something that does the job for you without having to break a sweat, the Overlord is definitely the choice. But anyway, in conclusion, I believe half of the game passes in this game right now, which are vehicles, are probably worth the money. The ones which I would definitely be watching out for is, for one, gonna be the Typhoon, the Abrams X, the MI28, and then the F-35A and B are kinda up to you if you wanna buy them. They're kinda 50-50, but the other three which I mentioned, I really don't recommend you guys to be buying. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video.